I remember this story, and I am so happy for this lady. Texas appeals court acquits Crystal Mason's illegal voting conviction. Yes, yes, I am so happy for her. A state appellate court in Fort Worth, Texas, has acquitted Crystal Mason of an illegal voting conviction that would have required her to serve a 5-year prison sentence. Judge Wade Birdwell wrote in his ruling that the state did not have enough evidence to prove that Mason knew she was ineligible to vote when she cast a ballot in 2016. In a statement, the ACLU said this acquittal amounts to a victory for Mason, a Black grandmother from Fort Worth whose life was upended by the state's aggressive charges. I am overjoyed to see my faith rewarded today, Mason said in a statement. I was thrown into this fight for voting rights and will keep swinging to ensure no one else has to face what I've endured over the last 6 years, a political ploy where minority voting rights are under attack. Mason's case has garnered significant media attention in the past several years. Voting rights advocates have warned that the state's ongoing crackdown on alleged illegal voting would inevitably ensnare voters who simply make mistakes while voting. The state's election policing efforts have been led by the state's Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton, who has been embroiled in his own legal troubles throughout his entire time in office. In Mason's case, she was on supervised release from prison after serving time on federal tax evasion charges when she voted in the 2016 election at the urging of family members. Mason has maintained that she had no idea that she couldn't vote because she technically hadn't finished her sentence. She has said that she thought she was eligible once she was released from prison. And because Mason wasn't on the voter rolls at the time, she voted using a provisional ballot, which eventually wasn't counted. Allison Grinter Allen, a criminal defense attorney who represented Mason, said her conviction should have never happened. Crystal and her family have suffered for over 6 years as the target of a vanity project by Texas political leaders, she said. We are happy that the court saw this for the perversion of justice that it is, but the harm that this political prosecution has done to shake Americans' confidence in their own franchise is incalculable. I am happy that this woman is done. You know that they are coming for Black women. They're coming for Black people. They do not want us to vote. The whole gerrymandering that they do, the way they try to squash our votes, the way they try to, they're trying to go back to the poll tax type of situation. They gerrymander the hell out of these states to where Republicans' voices get heard more. But this was overzealous, and I am so happy for this woman. All right, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, share. So I know that I have talked about Project 2025, and I'm going to keep bringing it to the forefront. I've also mentioned the Comstock laws or the Comstock Act, and we have talked about what is going on currently in the Supreme Court. We're going to keep on talking about it. This one from CNN, Supreme Court's abortion case brings 19th century chastity law to the forefront. We're going to talk about it. References from conservative justices to a long dormant chastity law during the Supreme Court's arguments in a major abortion pill case this week are bringing new attention to the 19th century statute which prohibits mailing of drugs used for abortion, among other obscene, lewd, lascivious, or indecent materials. The Comstock Act, as the law is known, is not central to the current Supreme Court case. However, comments from Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito showcase how the law is shaping up to be both a flashpoint to the legal battle over abortion and a potential election year issue for voters. There are now calls from within the anti-abortion movement for the Comstock Act to be enforced by the next Republican administration to ban the mailing of abortion medication, a move that would not require any action by Congress nor any blessing from the Supreme Court. But there is uncertainty and disagreement among anti-abortion advocates about what that means. Some prominent figures in the anti-abortion movement dismiss the possibilities that it would be used to effectively ban medications for abortion, which depends on the shipment of drugs to providers, even as other abortion foes have said the law, interpreted to its fullest extent, could potentially end not only medications for abortion, butts abortion altogether. All right, so I need y'all to know what this is. I've already talked about what is going on. We know that Project 2025 is happening. These people are in the background trying to think of all of the different ways that they're going to come for women's rights. Now, what is the Comstock Act? The Comstock Act of 1873 was a United States federal law that made it illegal to send any obscene, lewd, and or lascivious materials through the mail, including contraceptive devices and information about birth control. That is how they caught up a lot of people with this, because even if it was just information about birth control, just contraceptives also got caught up. So if they try to enact the Comstock Act again, it's not just going to be women's reproductive rights. This is going to ensnare even women that are trying to just not get pregnant. Okay. And the law was named after Anthony Comstock, a social reformer and postal inspector who lobbied for its passage. So this was a male person. This is a mailman, a glorified higher up manager in the mail office. And he is who decided to strip women's rights. He said that all women need to be pregnant and all these women gonna have a bunch of babies. And so for almost 100 years, the Comstock Act stood. All right, the Comstock Act had far-reaching consequences for the distribution of information about contraception and reproductive health in the United States. It effectively banned the dissemination of information about birth control through the mail, limiting access to contraceptive methods and impeding efforts to educate the public about reproductive health. This is wide. This is wide, and Republicans know it, and y'all need to know what the Comstock Act is. The law was a part of a broader cultural and political movement in the United States aimed at regulating morality and controlling the distribution of information about sensitive topics such as sex and reproduction. It has remained in effect for decades and had a significant impact on public discourse and access to reproductive health services in the United States. Women did not have access to this. This is the reason why birth control did not become legal until the 60s or 70s, because this one man, Anthony Comstock, and his morality people, and all of these people, conservative types, the names of these people have changed over the years, but these Republicans, these Christian type of people, thought that they had the right to control women, and we're trying to go back. They're trying to take us back, and folks like me are sounding alarms, and folks have got to really understand how much control they had over women up until like 2 generations ago. Women did not have the right to birth control. Y'all really need to know this. Okay, let's talk about who Anthony Comstock was. He was a moral reformer and postal inspector known for his crusade against what he considered to be obscenity and vice in the late 19th and early 20th century. He was born in 1844 and died in 1915. Comstock was instrumental in the passage of the Comstock Act of 1873. It was passed in 1873, and it stood for almost 100 years. A federal law that made it illegal to send obscene materials through the U.S. mail. Obscene materials, and obscene as defined by them. That's the reason why they want to bring this back, because the right, the Christofascists, the forced birthers get to define what is moral based on this law. He was known for his zealous and often aggressive enforcement of these laws, leading to numerous arrests and confiscations of materials he deemed inappropriate. While he was praised by some for his efforts to protect public morality, he was also criticized for his methods, which were seen as heavy-handed and infringing on freedom of speech. And the thing is, the right. These people, these MFers, act like they care about freedom of speech, but they don't. They want to dole out the freedoms that they want to dole out. They do not want women to have freedoms. They want to pick and choose which rights women have access to. Overall, Anthony Comstock played a significant role in shaping attitudes towards censorship and obscenity in the United States during this time. And this is what Project 2025 wants to bring back. This is what Christofascists wants to bring back. This is what forced birthers want to bring back. Now you guys know Anthony Comstock and the Comstock Act. Jump in the comments and let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Watching some of the financial implications of some of these Asian countries has been amazing. The birth rate decline is something that America is watching because it is going to impact things. It's going to impact our economics. It's going to impact our GDP. It's going to impact real estate. It's going to impact schooling. And all they really have to do is watch what is going on over in Japan, China, South Korea. Watch those countries because they are just a couple of decades, 1 or 2 decades ahead of where we're going if America can make the birth rate drop to Satan's pantry. Japan nappy maker, and a nappy is a diaper. Japan diaper maker shifts to from babies to adults. This is huge, y'all. A Japanese diaper maker has announced that it will stop producing diapers for babies in the country and instead focus on the market for adults. OG Holdings is the latest firm to make such a shift in a rapidly aging Japan, where birth rates are at a record low. Sales of adult nappies outpaced those for infants in the country for more than a decade. The number of babies in Japan in 2023, 758,631, was down by 5% from the previous year. It was also the lowest number of births on record in Japan since the 19th century. In the 1970s, that figure stood at more than 2 million. In a statement, OG Holdings said its subsidiary OG Nepia currently manufactures 400 million adult nappies annually. Production has been falling since 2001, when the company hit its peak at 700 million nappies. Back in 2011, Japan's biggest diaper maker, Unicharm, said its sales of adult diapers had surpassed those for babies. Meanwhile, the adult diaper market has been growing and is estimated to be worth more than $2 billion, or 1.6 billion pounds. Japan now has one of the world's oldest populations, with almost 30% of them aged 65 or older. Last year, the proportion of those aged above 80 surpassed 10% for the first time. OG Holdings said it will continue to make baby diapers in Malaysia and Indonesia, where it expects demand to grow. In a shrinking population, the result of both aging and plummeting birth rates has become a crisis for Japan, one of the world's largest economies. But Japanese government's efforts to address these challenges have been met with little success thus far. Increased spending on child-related programs and subsidies targeting young couples or parents don't appear to be boosting birth rates. Experts say the reasons are complex, ranging from lower marriage rates and more women joining the workforce to the increased cost of raising children. Japan is standing on the verge of whether we can continue to function as a society, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said last year, adding that it was a case of now or never. But Japan is not alone. Fertility rates have also been dropping in Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, and South Korea, the last of which has the lowest birth rate in the world. China, too, saw its population fall for the second year in a row in 2023, and like Japan, has introduced various incentives to boost birth rates. But an aging population and the impact of decades-long one-child policy, which ended in 2015, are creating demographic challenges in China, too. And let's not also forget China and these countries favor boys over girls. And the whole deleting a bunch of girl children did not help. Propping up males in leadership roles and men making all of these decisions is coming to bite them in the butt. Many of these countries are in their find out season, and I am here for it. Jump in the comments and let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I for one, am enjoying watching them find out what happens when you prop up these males, have all these males in leadership roles, not listen to women, and this is what happens. It is impacting the economy. Women, hold the line. Jump in the comments, like, comment, share.